gonna ruin your day. That's because the following animals exist and there's nothing you can do to stop it. The first animal on today's list of awfulness is the Christmas ornament from hell, the giant Antarctic scale worm. Packing 8 whole inches of nature, what the fuck is this, and a head that looks like one of my testicles with teeth, this is one of the reasons I'll never go to Antarctica. Besides looking like the Alaskan bullworm from the Bikini Bottom after it was exposed to radiation, this animal has other features that make it awful. That's because this dildo from Satan's box of sex toys is packed with spines that glow in the dark. Yes, you heard that right. Every single scale on this squirmy see me out the door is sharper than the sharpest knife in your kitchen cabinet and also glows in the dark. Which means any single fish brave enough to deep throat this demon glizzy will get a mouthful of glow sticks ready for children 18+. Up next on today's list of awfulness is the goat that looks like it was bred with the Target dog, the Damascus goat. Yes, this goat that looks like your grandfather is unfortunately real, and for some reason he constantly looks like he's in pain. And much like everybody's pop-pop, this goat didn't age very well. That's because when it was young, it still looked like a fucking animal. And aside from backing the worst jawline in the animal kingdom, I'm sure you won't be surprised when I tell you that this garbage disposal goat is from the Middle East. You know, being that it looks like an animal that was bred with a human. It was just a joke! Up next on today's list is the Why Do You Exist worm, otherwise known as the giant desert centipede. I also regret to inform you that besides being the only worm that I probably couldn't squish with my shoe, they are also extremely venomous. The NyQuil juice coating its fangs is designed to paralyze its prey, consisting of birds, bats, rats, and even me if I ever saw it. Now the fangs it uses to inject its form of liquid melatonin into its prey is actually a modified form of its legs, which means we may have just discovered the most dangerous roundhouse kick in all of the animal kingdom. And you may have imagined it keeps getting worse. Aside from giving out a handful of first-class tickets on the flight to heaven, these all-terrain terrorizers have the ability to live in water too, which means you aren't safe anywhere. To all of my creepy Australian people out there, is it true that you guys eat these? Because all I'm saying is, if that's true, there's a lot of other things out there you could probably eat. You don't have to eat these, it's fine. I know what you're thinking, but no, I did not just take a shit in the ocean and then post a picture of it. That is a sea cucumber. These underwater vegetables have multi-purpose assholes with which they use to not only shit, but also to breathe. They can also, for some disgusting reason, spit out their organs through their face. These nasty little dookies can also shapeshift, which is where they practically liquefy their body to fit through small crevices. Post-liquefaction, they can also then resume solid form. It's basically like your shit going from a solid log to diarrhea and then back to a solid log. Meet the pit viper, the extremely venomous snake. Besides being terrifying, this noprope has the ability to see in thermal vision. If you thought millipedes were gross, wait till I tell you about this shit stain. Meet the dragon millipede, the only animal we know that can shoot cyanide out of its fucking face. And for anyone who isn't educated in what cyanide is, it's poison. This poison in particular renders the body useless when it comes to using oxygen. Immediately after exposure, all of your cells die. Meet the sheep that makes you look like you have marbles for testicles, the ibex mountain goat. Telling gravity to kick rocks, this goat has the ability to climb any vertical surface. Bees can sense the electromagnetic field around flowers. Searching for pollen is easy as fuck when you can just see force fields. This little squirter is known as the bombarder beetle. Flicking its bean a couple times, it then has the ability to create a chemical reaction inside of its body, shooting a boiling jet at its enemies. I'm all for a good squirter, but I think I'll keep my face away from this one. Yep, that's an animal, and it's known as a chitone? I don't know, he's got magnetic teeth. That's pretty fucking cool. They make their teeth out of a material known as magnetite, and as you guessed, magnetite makes magnets. Salmon have an internal compass. They can sense the Earth's magnetic fields, which means they know where north and south are. So if you ever get lost in the woods, just ask a fish. Don't remember the insect with the ear fetish? Yeah, well, fun fact, not only can they be found in people's ears, but for some disgusting reason, they can also fly. Up next on today's list is the world's most ridiculous Christmas tree. Now I know what you're thinking, that's just a poorly photoshopped picture of a bunch of goats inside of a tree, but you'd be wrong. Not only can these trash-consuming knockoff sheep climb trees better than you and I, but they also have a voracious appetite for nuts. Oh, and by the way, these goats basically shit gold. For some ridiculous reason, the nut-like seed of the fruits in the trees that the goats consume, when passed through the goat, actually turn into something really valuable. After being passed through the goat's digestive system, the seed that remains inside the goat's dookie can become a very valuable cooking item for a lot of chefs around the world. I don't know who's eating goat shit nuts, but I'm out. Up next is the unkillable bug, the cockroach. It's not so much the cockroach we're talking about, but the scientists that study them. Many scientists that study cockroaches often become allergic to cockroaches and coffee, and they don't really know why. Last on today's list is the Gluck Gluck 9000 of the water, the gulper catfish. With an enormous pair of DSLs, this fish has the ability to consume fish the same size as it. And yeah, that looks painful, but it'll be fine a day or two later. So, what you doing this weekend? So, you know that you've probably consumed beaver butt juice and beaver piss? Companies add this special little beaver load to vanilla ice cream, cigarettes, and sometimes perfume. Good job, society. We wear and eat beaver secretion. Petting a bird actually turns them on. So if you have a pet bird and you pet it, you practice bestiality. And I suggest you stop. If for some reason there's a group of fruit flies all over your fruit, surprise, they're not just there for a snack. Fruit flies actually gather to have an orgy. So that banana you were gonna eat is probably soiled. Unless you know you're into that, then I guess eat the banana. Some frogs make homes out of elephant shit. You're making fun of them, but we're the only animal on the planet that pays to live here. If you thought that proboscis monkeys just have a giant penis on their face, you'd be right. However, that's not the organ of the animal we're looking at today. The organ we're really looking to discuss is this ugly monkey's red rocket. In the wild, to buck up to other males, some animals flash their feathers, others pump their pecs, you name it. But proboscis monkeys just flash their raging hard-ons at other proboscis monkeys. Oh, and by the way, they're just like always hard. Walking into proboscis monkey territory is almost like walking into on a Friday night at a frat house. Bunch of angry dudes with a couple hard-ons. Falcon breeders actually have to wear a special hat that's designed to catch the nut of a falcon. Honestly, being a falcon breeder is actually pretty cool. Until you tell people that you let birds bust loads on your head. Believe it or not, a lot of species of birds keep cool by just shitting on their legs. If humans did that, the sweaty, stinky kid in school would just be, well, stinkier. Now, I think the ugly duckling is false. I've never actually seen an ugly duck. However, their attitude can be a little ugly. Studies show that sometimes when ducks get bored, they just go on a murdering spree and eat other ducks. So next time you're passing by your local pond, make sure you toss a french fry or two so he doesn't wind up eating his friends. Tortoises are sperm hoarders. After going to Pound Town with Mr. Slow and Steady over here, the female tortoise has the ability to hold onto his sperm for years. And get this, she can just use it whenever the fuck she wants. So ladies, if you think you have control over your man, you might be a tortoise. And can we discuss how happy my guy is to be going to Pound Town? Apparently, tortoises have some seriously good Meet the dope rope that knows how to fish, the spider-tail viper. You may have guessed it, but if not, I'm gonna tell you, my guy has a spider on the end of his tail. And yeah, that's because he's got a specially modified appendage that looks just like a spider, and he uses that to fish for prey. The prey see it, they're like, oh look, a pretty little spider. They go to grab it, and boom, you're dead. I don't know about you, but I'd be fucking terrified of my own ass if it looked like a spider. And since we're on the topic of extension cords I'd like to step on, there is a such thing as two-headed snakes. As I'm sure you guessed, it's extremely rare. But believe it or not, you can own one, and they are entirely legal. But I do not recommend it to anybody because A, they're really expensive, and B, they don't often live long. Up next is the blanket octopus, and if you weren't terrified of the octopus, wait till you hear about this bastard. Being smart enough to solve puzzles, one of the only other animals on the planet that can use tools, the ability to change not only the texture of its body to match its surroundings, but also the color, and having one detachable tentacle that's actually a penis, wasn't scary enough for you. They're often found ripping off the extremely venomous tentacles of the Portuguese man-o-war jellyfish, and using them as a fucking weapon. I don't even know what the fuck to call this thing. It's a ribbon worm. It's fucking gross. Look. Yes, that's right. It spits out its venomous insides at its enemies to consume its prey. That's fucking disgusting. Nature, my friend, you are one very cool, incredibly fucked up bitch. Diet Godzilla is known as the marine iguana. Much like your local homeless population's addiction to their next fix, this mini kaiju has an addiction to the deep sea's devil's lettuce, algae. His addiction requires him to take a plunge into the ocean because obviously that's the only place the pup pass grows. And as you know, the ocean is home to everybody's favorite predator, the Tootsie Torpedo. And if you didn't know, Mr. Mean Submarine over here has the ability to sense a heartbeat up to 328 feet away. But our boy has a plan for that. He commits suicide for 45 minutes. No, seriously, he can turn off his heart for 45 fucking minutes. Up next is the only animal that flies around in front of my face even when it has all of this space to go elsewhere. The fruit fly. I'm going to start this one off by letting you know that if you see a bunch of flies in one area, it's not because they're all hanging out, it's because they're all having an orgy. So next time you're at the good old family barbecue and Drunkle Joe over there is making a fool of himself, falling all over the ground, and you see a bunch of fruit flies on your watermelon, yeah, your watermelon's soiled, my friend. Fruit flies also have a weird amount in common with the local single guys at your bar that you see every single weekend that never go home with anybody. That's because there's always a couple fruit flies at the orgy that just don't have enough riz and get rejected. And recent studies have shown when fruit flies get rejected, they seek out booze. So next time you see a bunch of fruit flies flying around Drunkle Joe's brewski, just know they're the ugly ones. Up next is real-life Donkey Kong. And unlike his digital counterpart that eats barrels when he's angry, the real-life one yanks a handy. No, I'm not kidding, gorillas fight more often than you think, and most of the time it's to show dominance. However, when they lose, they don't take it well. That's because when they lose, they go all destroy Dong December on themselves because they don't know what else to do to make themselves feel better. Oh, and side quest, have you ever heard a gorilla slap its chest? Let me play that again for you. Like, what the fuck? Oh, and the scientific name for gorilla is gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. What did you let a 5-year-old pick that? Up next is everybody's favorite leather submarine, the dolphin. And for the ones who've been living under a blanket for their entire life, I'll let you know now. Dolphins are mammals, which means they need to breathe air. And if you didn't know, these sex addicts can hold their breath for up to 20 minutes. I made a video on how awful dolphins are sexually at one point. Go check that out. However, these idiots that I think could have been left off of Noah's Ark have the ability to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like these molasses mammals. Taking the stage first is the vampire squid. And looking like an inverted deep-sea vagina isn't actually what makes him scary. It's what he's hiding underneath. Every time I close my eyes and go underwater, I can imagine this thing wrapping itself around my face. And if you were under the impression this animal couldn't get any worse, you would be fucking wrong. Not only does it live in an area of the sea where oxygen is slim to none, but it actually primarily feeds on something called marine snow. Sounds so elegant, doesn't it? Although marine snow appears to be snow, it's actually the constant falling of dead, decaying animals falling to the sea's floor. It's practically the human equivalent of digging up people's graves and just licking the bottom of it. Up next on today's list is this 8-legged fuckno, the huntsman spider. Now you might be asking yourself, aren't all spiders just the most terrifying thing on the planet? Well, yes and no. Besides the fact that it seems so big that if I tried to step on it, it would actually grab my shoe and beat me with it, there's something that makes him stand out from the rest. They are so unbelievably fucking fast, they've decided that spinning webs is virtually useless, and they just charge directly at their prey. And did I mention they can kill possums? I don't even know if I want to go over this one. Just kidding! Meet the only crab on the planet that has the ability to pick up your 10-year-old child and throw it across the street. The coconut crab. No, I'm not kidding. Larry the lobster over here can in fact lift over 70 pounds. And the strength of his big, meaty claw has the ability to squeeze at 3,300 newtons. Bro, it only takes about 4,000 newtons to break a human femur. And besides the fact it realized there was nothing dangerous enough for it in the ocean, so it got bored and walked on land one day, you can probably imagine where it got its name. It just walks up to a tree, climbs it, grabs a coconut, and breaks it open with its fat-ass hands. And I'd be lying to you if I told you it wouldn't come after you. Although rare, they can be aggressive when they feel threatened, and they will chase you. How long till sharks realize that the water isn't scary enough for them too? If you thought your sex life was kinky, wait till you hear this one. While mating, female wasp spiders eat the male while they fuck. Orgasm for a pig can last anywhere between 30 and 90 minutes. Pigs are also cannibals. They're not stray from eating each other. If a female ferret can't find a mate quick enough while she's in heat, she dies. Talk about a needy bit. Porcupines fall out of trees all the time. And instead of evolving not to fall out of trees, you know, the smart way, their blood has evolved to have antibiotics in it because when they fall, they prick themselves all the time. And look at those teeths. And don't even get me started on the fucking unicorn submarine. First of all, if you told me these things were fake, I'd believe you. But not only is that thing not a horn, it's a tooth. And they can be born with 2 of them. All I'm saying is when God created you, he had a bone to pick. Oh, and lastly, this one's not really a fact, but I don't think pelicans have any idea how big their mouths are or how big they are, because they just keep trying to eat shit they can't. Just trying to eat a kangaroo, fucking giraffe, a dog. This one's eating a cat. That's someone's kid. Where's your mom? Let's start with pandas. Not only are these obese fluffy Oreos the least sexually active animal on the planet, but their shit can be turned into paper. If you're into sniffing ass, you can blow your nose with panda poo. Next on today's list is the homeless snail. Besides looking like a wet wilderness floor penis, these idiots got 3,000 teeth and 4 noses. Speaking about penis, the banana slug's penis is actually the same size as himself. Oh, and Larry the lobster could taste shit with his feet. And did I mention they pee through their face? Some scientists speculate they could live forever, and that's because they have no idea when they die. Elephants are the only mammal that can't jump. Oh, and guess what, ladies? Just like you, kangaroos can't fart. Oh, and I'm sure you all know woodpeckers, the idiots that slam their head against a tree repeatedly to get food. Well, to avoid brain damage and whiplash, these idiots have a tongue that wraps completely around their brain to protect it while slamming back and forth. Here's an idea, just pick up your food off the ground like all the other birds. Thanks for watching.